This is the JTV Caribbean News. I am Sean Rose. Trinidad and Tobago's Education Minister, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, said many men were getting away with statutory rape after indicating that more than 2,500 teenage pregnancies are reported annually in TNT. Dr. Gopi Singh, speaking in the Senate, said that most of the teenagers had become pregnant for fathers who were between ages 25 to 40, and that some of the mothers were below age 12. The Trinidad and Tobago Education Minister told legislators that the University of the West Indies research showed that by age 19, more than 1,000 young women already had 4 children. Dr. Gopi Singh, a gynecologist with more than 27 years of practice, described the situation as frightening, saying that for every 15 new patients accessing antenatal care, 10 were teenagers. Dr. Gopi Singh believes it is an issue of socialization. He says in this practice, most of the teenagers said they are looking for some degree of love. The figure could be much higher as many pupils drop out of school and authorities are unable to get a true number. Gopi Singh said Trinidad cannot continue to ignore the statutory rape of teenagers, adding it was necessary to apprehend the men engaged in the practice. Bermuda's Tourism Minister Sean Crockwell says the Bermuda government plans to issue 3 licenses initially if Parliament gives the go-ahead for the introduction of casinos in Bermuda. He told the television audience on Monday night that casinos could help the island overcome its image as an unexciting travel destination. The tourism minister said that the One Bermuda Alliance government's plans to legalize gaming were a gargantuan step that would redefine Bermuda and help the island rebrand and reposition itself in the tourism market. But Crockwell played down concerns that the island could one day resemble the Las Vegas Strip, saying that Bermuda's size of 21 square miles with a population of 65,000 meant that a maximum of just 3 casinos integrated into either new or existing hotels were financially sustainable. The Bermuda government initially promised to hold a national referendum on casinos but cancelled it, saving some $500,000 and said that the politicians would make a decision on the thorny subject. The government is revealing its plans for the introduction of casinos in Bermuda at a series of public meetings. The bridging of the Quarantine River that will link Guyana and Suriname remains a key area of focus for the governments of both countries, and at present the structure's design is being formulated. The bridge will be funded by the Chinese government. The Guyana government has sent letters of no objection to the Foreign Affairs Ministries of Suriname and China for the construction of the bridge. In 2010, the then-President Bharat Jagdeo and his Surinamese counterpart Desi Bouterse signed an accord for the undertaking of a feasibility study on bridging the Quarantine River as both countries pledged to pursue a closer working relationship. The structure, which will link Guyana and Suriname, would considerably enhance trade and economic relations and cultural exchanges between the peoples of the two nations. The Quarantine River Bridge was identified as one of the projects that would further physically integrate the Union of South American nations. The government of the Cayman Islands says it is inviting each of the major cruise lines to engage in bilateral discussions on the development of the proposed cruise berthing facility in Georgetown. The British Overseas Territories Cabinet approved the outlined business case for the facility at the end of December 2013. Tourism Minister Moses Cork-Connell said government has approached the FCCA and the cruise lines as they will be the prime users of the berthing facility, and it is important that any specific user requirements they might have are determined early on in the process. The Tourism Ministry is overseeing development of the facility and has already issued requests for proposals for a planned environmental impact assessment. In a statement, the government said its intention was to carry out the impact assessment, the discussions with the cruise line users, and the subsequent procurement process during 2014. Following the lead of some of its Eastern Caribbean neighbors, St. Lucia's government says it is exploring the development of geothermal energy on the island. As islands like Dominica, Nevis, and Montserrat explore geothermal, St. Lucia says it is moving very aggressively towards developing this geothermal source, according to Minister for Sustainable Development, Energy, Science, and Technology, Dr. James Fletcher. Any potential geothermal project would be located at the island's sulfur springs. The band that made the song 96 Degrees in the Shade, Third World, lost its lead vocalist, guitarist, and songwriter William Bonnie Ruggs Clark to cancer on February 3rd. Clark, who spent 38 years with the band, passed away Sunday at his Orlando, Florida home, 4 days shy of his 66th birthday after a battle with cancer. Reports indicate he had recently been released from an intensive care unit in a Florida hospital. Jamaica's Minister of Culture, Lisa Hanna, said Bonnie Ruggs' voice was distinct, and he had a charisma and stage presence that was spellbinding, with a smile that was vibrant. Clark, age 65, worked with the band Inner Circle and top reggae producer Lee Scratch Perry in Jamaica before joining Third World in 1976. The next year, the band released 96 Degrees in the Shade, one of its most popular albums. As well as performing and recording with Third World, Bonnie Ruggs continued to record as a solo artist. In 2012, he received a Caribbean American Heritage Award for outstanding contribution to reggae. William Bonnie Ruggs Clark is survived by a wife and 8 children. And that's it for this week's edition of the Caribbean News segment. I am Sean Rose, JTV News.
Coming up next on JTV News. More men are turning out to prostate cancer screening. This year, the numbers reach 800. And Education and Culture Minister Myron Walwyn issues a statement on Black History Month, commending the African Studies Club for paying homage to African ancestors with the annual wreath-laying ceremony.